Hi, I'm Hazel. It is almost Saturday again, so it's time to sit down and catch up with another vlog. We have had so much happen since last week that it's just so exciting. I will preface this by saying I do have a cold. I did manage. The one time I leave my house, I knew it was a bad idea. My door just started closing, but I realized it's because my window's open. It's okay. We're not haunted. We're probably not haunted. If something comes behind me in the recording, then that'll be kind of spooky. But yeah, the one time I leave my house for longer than like an hour, I get sick, which figures. But yeah, so this week I went to Canada. I went home for my sister's wedding. It was wonderful. It was an amazing trip. It was a little bit taxing just because I'm not used to going. Oh God, it's just the door. I'm not used to going out, but we had so much fun. The cat was fine here. I got pictures every day from the friend that was watching our cat, and it was funny. He took them in a way that were like hostage photos. Like they started out really cute, and then they started getting like closer and closer up to her face. And then there's when she was like scratching at a cat tree, but the angle of the camera made it look like she was being dragged away. It was really funny. So yeah, the cat was fine. The dog did fine. We got to see all sorts of different family members, and it was wonderful. It was perfect. It was a beautiful wedding. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. That didn't last very long. Apparently I cry at weddings. But yeah, it was awesome to see everybody, and it was really nice to come home. We made it into Seattle on our way back at like 1 a.m. on Monday, and then we stayed the night there, and then left really early again in the morning. So by the time I got back home on Monday, I had enough time to unpack and whatever, and ended up making a lasagna for dinner that night, but I was just so tired that I didn't manage to, the marathon didn't go the way I had intended it to, but I had so much more fun sort of taking it at my own pace, so that was nice. So yeah, Legion came out. It launched. The launch was so smooth. I was kind of, after WoD, I figured they just don't know how to launch WoW. I figured there was just no good way to do it, but apparently they figured it out because it was so smooth. The instance charting worked perfectly. The only time I was ever in a place that had just like a bunch of people in. There were two different situations. One of them was right before Legion launched when I was crowded around Khadgar, I think it was, or whoever was going to teleport the Dalaran into the new Dalaran. There was lots of people there. And then there was a scenario where you were Huln High Mountain and you had like this moose buddy and you were just doing the scenario telling the story of Huln. And there was like 1,000 Hulns there, and apparently that didn't shard, but everything else had like a normal amount of people, so I wasn't like getting really frustrated trying to tag mobs. The mob tagging was another thing that worked just beautifully for quest items and whatever. You were able to just tag whatever you needed to, help other people finish their difficult polls, and it just worked splendidly. So servers have been getting a little choppy in the last day or so, but for launch night at least they went really smoothly, and any choppiness has been resolved pretty quickly. I believe they are under fire from DDoS attacks, but they seem to know what they're doing as far as handling it, so hopefully that clears up pretty soon. There's a really weird issue this morning actually where I was getting disconnected. When I logged back in, I would be wherever I was like 5 minutes ago, which was kind of rough for trying to finish some pet battles. I was doing my pet battle world quests, but worked out. So yeah, my first impressions on Legion actually being out. The voice acting makes a huge difference. Back when I leveled on beta, a lot of the voice acting wasn't in, and maybe I wasn't even playing with sound anyways, but if you haven't already, you have to turn, you don't have to, but you should. You don't have to turn on game music if you don't want to, although the new game music is beautiful, but the dialogue sounds, so you get all the voice acting. There's so much voice acting in Legion, and I never really thought it would make a big difference, but it really does feel like going from just watching a muted movie with subtitles to turning the sound on. Like, I actually know what's going on now without having to read the quest text. I'm not stopping to read the quest text any more than I normally would have, but I'm getting invested in these stories because I know what's going on, because I have people saying, hey, come on, come help me. There's this thing over here. This thing's happened. And I know I feel way more invested in the story and these characters that we're interacting with because they all have voices now. And some of the mob voices are really funny. The imps and the harpies are both awesome. So yeah, voice acting has really been what I think made the Legion leveling experience special for me. And then the questing was just phenomenal. I always thought they really nailed it with WoD questing, but they did, if possible, an even better job with Legion questing. There's enough hubs that you don't feel like you're just railroaded through a pre-scripted experience, but there is a cohesive story to each zone, and it's very easy to keep up with what's going on, even if you're not stopping to read the quest text because of that voice acting. So that has been phenomenal. If you are not listening to voices, you should be. And it looks like a lot of the world quests have voice acting as well. Once you like enter the world quest zone, it's pretty funny. There was a warden a warden emissary. So I was doing a bunch of warden dailies, warden world quests this morning for my emissary daily. And one of them, I was in High Mountain, and I get into the area, and the warden's like, be cautious, your target is nearby. Quash their evil, or like whatever it is she says. And I look up and it's a bear. And she wants me to kill a bear, and he's not even mauling villagers. He's just living his bear life in this bear cave, and the warden is like, that's your target. And I kill it, and then of course my Shadow Priest dagger is like, did you feel it cease to exist? Because the Shadow Priest dagger is like a dagger waifu. It's got like a super sexy voice. And the whole thing was just too funny. So yeah, voice acting's great. My Shadow Priest dagger is great. I think I like that it's not a staff. For a while, I was upset that everybody got these super cool staves and I get this like little dagger. But it's growing on me. It's unique. I wish it didn't just sit on my hip all the time. I wish I used it in more animations. I'm particularly disappointed in Void Torrent because the text says, raise your dagger to the sky and whatever else. And your dagger's just sitting there in your hip while you raise your hand to the sky. And I know they know how to make me raise my dagger to the sky because I do it when I'm adding artifact power to my weapon. And I also do it when I'm channeling on random quest items. So I don't understand why I don't pick the damn thing up when I'm void torrenting, but I'm sure that, well, I have strong hopes that that's something they're going to get to in 7.1. So hopefully the caster animations keep up with the wonderful trend they've started when they redid the melee animations. So yeah, my priest leveling took a couple of days. Like I said, I didn't hardcore marathon it. I leveled until I wanted to go to bed, and then I go to bed, and then I got up and I would start leveling again. So I think I finished it Tuesday night. Maybe Wednesday morning. I know we finished it on Wednesday morning. I leveled with my husband. He actually waited for me when I went to bed, which I thought was very sweet of him. He switched to a different character when I went to bed. And yeah, the leveling was great. I'm 110. Once I reached max level, I started doing world quests. I apparently should have waited. World quests, apparently, the gear rewards from them scale to the zone of which your item level is. So like the optimal thing to do is to go get better gear from dungeons or whatever and then do world quests, but it's only going to put you behind by like 8 hours, so I didn't worry about it. Did some world quests, did some dungeons, got really lucky with some Titan forging, and I'm up to item level 829 now, which it's not like a lot, but it feels like a lot, and I feel like I'm just pimping with that. So I've been having a lot of fun. I just started today, actually, to really sit down and go through the most up-to-date Shadow Priest theory crafting. I've been reading through the guide that's up on How to Priest, which is excellent. Reading about talent choices, reading about legendaries that I'm going to want to get. Apparently, I'm taking the wrong route of my artifact weapon, but it's too late to change that now, so we'll deal. I wanted the tentacle thing. Or maybe that is the right, I don't know. There's a lot of abbreviations in this guide, and I need to go back and remember what all the things are. But yeah, I've actually been healing more than doing Shadow Priest in dungeons, at least, because apparently the DPS queue for dungeons is kind of gross. So I've just been whipping out my my Ture Naru Great Staff Naru stick. I've been whipping out my Naru stick every time I need to do a dungeon, and Holy Priest actually feels really good. I tried Disc for like 2 trash bowls in a dungeon, went right back to Holy because Holy just feels really good to me right now. And I like my Naru stick, so that'll be a good thing to have on hand for when our healers inevitably don't show up to an important raid night. I'm always the flex range DPS that can switch to healing if we really need me to, so that's been fun. As far as videos, all of the pet battle guides are all up there in a playlist. I moved them to a more prominent place on my homepage, so they should be where where the Tanan pet guides used to be. I should have the playlist of Broken Isles pet guides there. There's a couple missing because they haven't come up yet for me. As soon as they come up, I'm going to get on that and take care of those and get them done. But there's like 33 odd guides in there. Everything that I could do with 2 pets has been done with 2 pets. And then each pet guide has an associated Wowhead write-up, both on the Wowhead page and then in the description of all of those videos. There is a write-up showing which pets you need, what moves you need, and then a basic order of what to do things on. So if you've already watched the video but you don't remember the strategy, you can always load up the video and then just scroll down to the description and follow off that if you don't want to listen to my voice more than once, which I don't blame you. I don't like it. I always mute myself. I can't listen to myself. It's my birthday this week. I'm going to be 24 on Thursday, which is the 8th. 24 feels a little scarier than any birthday I've had so far, just because I'm now on the second half of the first half of my 20s. It's a really silly thing to feel old about. I'm nowhere close to old, but I recently started watching... I started listening to some new K-pop, and I was looking at these group members, and I'm like, man, these people are like 6 years younger than me. It's begun. But... That's okay. The thing that comforts me when I start to worry about getting old is I think of somebody that I think is super cool that's older than me, like, you know, my sister or Taylor Swift. And I think no matter how old I get, Taylor Swift will always be older than me. And that makes me feel a little bit better. So there's that. So yeah, related to videos, I'm not gonna be making any videos until Monday. I've had this whole week off since I got home, and then I'm gonna take the weekend off as well, just because I'm not a big fan of trying to record audio when I'm sick. It's rough on my voice, and I do it like 9 times over because I don't like sounding like a frog. So I'm gonna start making videos hopefully on Monday, maybe a little later depending, but I usually can shake off a cold pretty quick. I've got a good routine of like copious naps and lots of fluids, so I should be fine in a few days. So yeah, I'll be making videos on Monday. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be starting with. I do know that I want to put together a short list of the most useful new pets in Legion. So if you're where I'm at basically, and you're collecting the new pets, you want to know what to get first and what to level first of the new Legion pets, I want to put together a short list of like 5 or 10 pets to start with there. So that'll be on Monday-ish is when I'm going to start that. Overwatch Season 2 came out, and there's a new map, and there's new emotes, and there's new skins for Reinhardt, and I want to play with all of it, and I don't have time. I'm going to wait for Legion to calm down a little bit before playing other games, but the new map does look very cool, so maybe I'll try and find like a little bit of time to poke around in there and see what the Mercy Bus feel like, because I still love Overwatch, but WoW is so hot right now. Okay, you get it, because like Legion Fire, I need to go back to bed. And then the other game that's not Legion is Pokemon Go. I tried to play in Canada. My data apparently in Canada was awful. We supposedly had international roaming data, 2 gigabytes free, and I'm like, that's plenty of data. And it would have been if I could have used it. We had the worst possible connection. It told me I was on Rogers 3G. I don't believe it. Like every time I would load a web page, you would load it and then just put your phone back in your pocket and chill for a couple of minutes and then pull your phone back out and maybe you've loaded it. Or maybe you just wait until you get back to the place we were staying and use Wi-Fi, because it was terrible. So I didn't manage to play much Pokemon Go in Canada. But from the looks of it, they just had like a lot of drowsy anyways, so I don't think I was really missing out on much. But the thing that's happening with Pokemon Go is they just announced today, officially announced, in one of the upcoming updates, so it's not out yet, but in an update coming soon, they're going to be adding buddy Pokemon. So you can select a Pokemon as your buddy. Walking with a Pokemon as your buddy will give you candy, and there may be other benefits as well. It's going to have like it's going to appear in your little trainer page, and I can't wait, because this means I can finally start leveling up my Snorlax. And then maybe like my Dratini, maybe get a Dragonite rolling. There's so many Pokemon that I want to level up that I've never found another one of. So this will be super cool. Can't wait for that. But I'm kind of almost glad that feature's not out yet, because right now I just need to sit down and play a whole bunch of WoW. I haven't started leveling my Druid yet. I did my Priest and everything else is still at square one, and I do need to start my Druid soon because I got to get artifact research rolling on it. And I need to start getting her honor talents done, which means I gotta level first, so maybe I'll start that tonight. There's just too much to do, guys. I reached level 110, and I looked at all the quests in my quest log, and I opened up my map, and I was like, oh no, it was so overwhelming. There were so many different things to go do. But I'm at a point now in my Priest where I've managed to clean up most of it. Between the class hall, which is very important, you should definitely focus on your class hall, the class hall, and then profession quests, and then world quests, and then the Suramar quest chain, and then trying to do dungeons whenever my guild needed it. It's just so much going on. It's crazy. Alright, so questions from last week. Ilasel Gaming asks, do you have a Demon Hunter? I just made one yesterday, and they are ridiculously OP. What do you think? I do have a Demon Hunter. I made one because I didn't see why not. They give you an extra character slot for one. I've got one of everything else except for Death Knights, and I pretend Death Knights aren't a thing. So yeah, I have a Demon Hunter. I leveled it out of the starting zone, so I have it sitting in Stormwind. I have not played it since Legion came out, and I don't intend to. Melee DPS is kind of the very last thing on my WoW list. It's not something I'm likely to put any time into, so I won't really be playing one, although I do have one. I mostly just wanted to customize her because they've got really cool customization. There's so many different horns and masks and stuff, so... you think they're ridiculously OP? That's probably true. They're not so ridiculously OP that people aren't playing anything else. In the dungeons that I've done, there's been a good spread of classes and a good spread of people doing strong damage. I haven't picked out any classes as being consistently overpowered just yet, but dungeons are kind of a small sample size. So yeah, I think they're cool. I'm very happy for people that have been waiting for them for a long time because they look like they're living up to expectations. Their mobility looks awesome. The double jump glide thing is just so cool. So yeah, I think they're OP. I don't know if they're ridiculously OP, but I haven't spent enough time with one to make a definitive decision there. So that's that. Okay. Lupin asks, I was wondering, what are the things you were going to focus on when you hit 110 in Legion? Hard to know what stuff is important in you, mostly PvP. So, it's going to be a bit different depending on if you're going to be PvEing or PvP. If all you do is PvP, your item level is not going to be as important as it is to a PvE character. It is still going to influence your character power, but to a much lesser extent. Supposedly the difference between 100 item level difference between like 800 and 900, or I guess like 750 and 850 is going to be roughly 10%. So you want all the item level you can get, but you shouldn't kill yourself doing PvE to try and get it. As a PvP character, what I would be doing would be unlocking world quests and making sure you have enough rep with each zone that you can access all the world quests. I would be doing PvP world quests. I would be doing battlegrounds mostly to try and get my honor talents. And you mostly just want to get your honor talents all together and ready before the arena season starts. And you should be getting some amount of gear from battleground. I want to say battleground boxes, and winning battlegrounds will give you gear. And then once the rated season starts, rated PvP will give you better gear if you can achieve a higher rating. So you're welcome to do the PvE grind if you want. You will be able to use that gear in battlegrounds. The trinkets won't work, but if you get a really good item level from mythic dungeons or whatever, that will help you out a little bit. But if you're not into the PvE thing, I don't think it helps you out enough that you should be doing that and trying to push through mythic dungeons if it's not something you're planning on doing in the future. So it's a little bit of a grayer line as to exactly what the path is, what is important. Honor talents are definitely important. That's step one. And beyond that, just get gear wherever you can. Mostly from world quests is probably a good way to do it. But just kind of follow your heart. Honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna be a little bit lost on my druid once I get her leveled up. I'm probably just going to do the same thing I'm doing on my priest, except probably less dungeons. I don't want to do dungeons in my druid. I'll probably just do some world quests and then get right into battlegrounds. Get those honor talents up. I don't see myself prestiging. I can't imagine pressing a button. I wish they had done prestiging the same way Overwatch does it, just as a marker that you have leveled this many times. I wish you didn't have to sacrifice your talents. That's not a good decision. I wish you could just be like prestige level, whatever, just means that you've done a lot of PvP. I don't understand why they couldn't just do that. There's something about, they want it to be an interesting decision that you have to sacrifice something to get your prestige, and to me all that means is somebody consciously made a decision to give up their talents to get a pretty pony. That doesn't really seem like a PvPer thing to me, but maybe it'll be better in the battleground community. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. I gotta start that tonight. There's so much going on. Anyways, that has been my week. I probably forgot something because so much has happened this week, but right now I need to get some water in me and probably take a nap. I like naps. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. If any of you have any questions you would like answered on a vlog, just leave them as comments on the most recent vlog. And I hope you guys, rate for me any Legion launch stories. I want to hear about those. Anything cool or funny or interesting or not interesting that happened to you like during Legion launch, I want to hear all about it. Thank you guys all for your recipe and snack suggestions. I appreciated those. I always love reading through the comments in these vlogs. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful